Hey everybody, Dr. Cheryl-Ann Needham here. So what is happening with the situation with Judge Roy Moore? Well, early on when I first heard the allegations, I thought they'd be pretty suspect given the timing of the major election for U.S. Senate, but also because they were, 30, 40 years ago. But anyway, I said, Lord, I want to know your perspective on this. What is a perspective from the spiritual realm? Because the word tells us in Ephesians 6 that our battle isn't against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and hosts of spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. So what is your perspective, God? What is going on from the spiritual realm? And immediately he showed me a vision that had 3 parts of it. And so the vision, actually each part added to the other. So the first scene, I saw Judge Roy Moore standing in a huge grassy field. It was probably a mall area because there was a curb that surrounded it. And he was standing in the middle, and then I saw a bunch of people around him throwing huge rocks at him. And I thought, okay, that's pretty obvious. But then another element was added to the scene. And this time, I saw a number of individuals on this same field with the rock throwers and with Judge Roy Moore. And each of these individuals had a few sticks in their hands, and they were rubbing the sticks together really fast to kindle a fire. And there were these small fires all over this mall area burning. And I thought, that's pretty interesting. And then the third vision, I saw a huge circle of believers standing around this entire scene, guarding it in a perimeter, and each had a huge pitcher of water. And they were just standing there with the water. They weren't doing anything. And so I said, okay, Lord, show me what this means. Show me from your word. Now, the Lord thy God is one, so that means we don't get to separate the Spirit from the Word, from the Father. So I looked into his word, and the first one was actually pretty obvious. Take the issue of the woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. Now, this wasn't a mere hearsay, but this is someone who had been caught in the act. And as you remember, the people wanted to stone her. And they're waiting for Jesus to comment on it, and he just continued to say nothing. And then what did he finally say about someone who was caught in the act of adultery? He said, he of you who is without sin, be the first to cast the stone. And as you know, one by one, people started to walk away until only she was left. So his message to us, the church, is, do you really have authority? Do you have such a sinless life that you actually can throw a rock at someone? And that was over an act of adultery. In this situation, we just have mere accusations. Okay, let's go to the second scene with all the fires burning. I found a verse found another number of verses of fire. I said, Lord, what do the fires represent? And I heard the word contentions. Contentions of fire. So look what I found in Proverbs 26:20. If there's no wood, the fire goes out. If nobody gossips, contention stops. So what's happening here is the gossip is fueling the contention. That's because people have wood. So church, if you've been one to speak about this situation, to accuse, to condemn something that you don't have the facts about, think again, because your words, your gossip is actually creating fires around this situation, adding chaos and disharmony. That's not what we're called to do as a church. What did Jesus do? With a woman caught in the act, he said, go on and sin no more. He corrected her behavior, but he didn't reject her as a person. Okay, thirdly, the believers standing around in a circle with huge water pitchers. Well, that comes from Ephesians 5. What happens there? Jesus, talking about Jesus and the washing of the word that he does with us, how he washes us with his word to sanctify us, to make us blameless and pure. So that is what Christ, the word, does with us. But we as the church have those pitchers of water. We have the word that we can use to sanctify ourselves, but we also have the word, the water, to literally pour over the fires and pour over the situation, that the truth would be apparent, that the truth would be revealed. Right now, this is not just about Judge Roy Moore, but this is a hook in the jaw of the church to try to get us off into gossip, to try to get us off into insinuations, to try to get us off into opinions, instead of doing what the word tells us to do. Even if there was sexual sin there, what is our job? Forgive and to cover someone in prayer. Recently, I read something by John Bevere, and he interviewed a Navy SEAL. And he said to the Navy SEAL, actually the guy was now an instructor of Navy SEALs, and he said, how do you get the SEALs to function as a unit? And he went right to Ephesians, and he went right to our weapons of warfare, and he said the only place that we're not covered is our back. And he said that's because other people in the church are to cover our backs. And he went on to say that in the SEALs training, they always cover the person to their right. In fact, they spend more time, more attention concerned about that person than themselves even. And he said that way everyone's covered because everyone's looking out for the person on their right. So church, I'm going to challenge you. Are you looking out right now for Judge Roy Moore? Are you covering his back? Even if you think he did it, are you still doing what's biblical to do? Forgive if there was such a sin and cover in prayer and cover his back. Let's not allow this to imprison him, and let's not allow this to imprison us through gossip, tedious conversations and words and opinions that are not ours to have. To help us with this, I've started a Facebook page called Prayer for Judge Roy Moore, where I'm going to have videos and short teachings and scriptures that together we can be praying over us, the body of Christ, and over him in this situation. So I'm calling forth the believers who are of this circle, standing guard, saying, God, I'm not going to be of that. I'm not going to fall into the insinuations and the accusations. I'm going to do my post. I'm going to follow your word, and I'm going to cover my brother, and I'm going to cover us, the church, as well, that this not be another source of a falling away because of offense and love growing cold. So if you're one of those who say, yes, God, I'm part of the remnant, I'm really in this thing, and I really want to follow your ways, I say yes, then go to that Facebook page. Join me and others who are committed to praying for this situation to the glory of God for his truth and his righteousness in the earth. Bless you.